diving. Hope comes and stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good morning. Good morning, people. Peoples are peoples. I'm already done sharing, so. Make sure there isn't something else I need to do. We need to start about 3-minute mark as usual. I'll be right back. I'm going to blow my nose. Okay. Looks like we're getting that 2.5-minute mark. So, hey Ingrid, good to see you. I'm so sorry I didn't send you that link. When I was sending you that text just now, I saw it and remembered it. If you still need it, just let me know. I'll find it and get it over to you. So, if we don't get it done, don't worry about it. They'll let you share. Trust me. Trust me, they will give up it all. They'll be like, yeah, you can do it. Trust me. Yeah, you'll be fine. Either way, I'll get you taken care of. All right, today we're talking about no ordinary success story. And yeah. Again, I didn't want to talk on it, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it with a good attitude. Okay. Sounds good. Whatever we need to do. You know how we are in that group. We're like, all right, go. So don't worry about it at all. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I'll be hosting today. And I kind of get to say that because, as you guys have seen, we brought on a new host. Stacy is fantastic. I love having her aboard. She brings a different view. She brings a female view. And it doesn't make us twice as better. It makes us 3 times as better as what happens. And because when you have 2 working in tandem, you get 3 times as much done. And we got a lot accomplished in 40 minutes the other day. I was very pleased with it. It felt normal. We had some great chat going on. That was a lot of fun. Let's get started with today's no ordinary success story. We're going to be talking about Dr. Bob today. Dr. Bob, he was a quiet man. If you read his story, he's a very private man. That's what I need to say. See, I knew that was off. I knew it was off. I'm like, man, things are just too close. Hello. But he was pretty private. And so you have to do a little digging if you want to find anything out on Dr. Bob. I'm going to show you guys a neat little trick here. It's not a trick, but it's what I do. So I'm using the daily reflection, okay? The daily reflection tells me that this is an As Bill Sees It, page 31. So if you have As Bill Sees It, if you turn to page 31 or 30, I think it was 30. I hope it's 35. No, it was. Okay, good. I was on the wrong. This is As Bill Sees It, page 35. I was looking at the wrong page. Down there it says number 1, letter. I don't have that letter. 2, AA comes of age, page 69. I have that. Now I have 3 places that I can read from. See, and that's how I get this stuff set up. So if you have AA comes of age, I'm going to start on page 69. Okay. This is how I do it. It works really well because then we get 3 different types of recovery in it. I did do a little looking over on this, and this is Bill actually describing Dr. Bob, I believe, after he passed. All right. Dr. Bob, at the time of our meeting, was 55, some 15 years older than I. I did not know that. He must have had an iron constitution. He said that all through the years, his drinking had been practically continuous. When he got jittery to operate or to see his patients, he sedated himself heavily. When this recourse sometimes failed, he would steal away for a week or so to a drying out place so that he could start the same cycle all over again. In those rare moments when he got thoroughly sober, the insatiable craving for alcohol never let up. This was a physical phenomenon which bedeviled even his first years in AA. I don't know how long it was. But Dr. Bob said it was years before his obsession went away. Okay. Talk about the complete opposite of Bill. On purpose, I'm thinking. Yeah, on purpose. I think God did that on purpose. Nothing happens by mistake, right? So, all right. A time when only those days and nights of carrying the message to other alcoholics could cause him to forget about it. Although this craving was hard to withstand, it doubtlessly created some part of intense incentive and energy that went into forming ACRA's group number 1. Bob's spiritual release did not come easily. It was to be painfully slow. It was always entailed with the hardest kind of work and sharpest vigilance. Yet he seemed to have no serious neurotic difficulties. As the office put it, I just love my grog. I love my grog. You want to know what's funny about that? That's from Lord of the Rings. That's from Lord of the Rings, my friends. All right. It all came out about the same time. So yeah, grog is what orcs drink. So, might be a coincidence. I don't know. That's not a God thing. That's all right. By the time I met him, this compelling love had almost done him in. His surgical skill was still recognized, but a few colleagues and patients dared to trust him. He had lost his post on the staff of Akron. I don't want to hear how bad he was. I want to. Okay. In Dr. Bob's story, as afterwards written for the AA book, and years later in his last full-length talk in Detroit, he made this point very clear. It was not any spiritual teaching of mine. Rather, it was those twin ogres of madness and death. Okay, here we are at ogres again. Okay. Dr. Bob was obviously a Lord of the Rings fan. All right. Kind of a cool thing. I cannot confirm that entirely, but gosh, I mean, Grog is. I'm so off topic, but I could sit here for an hour and easily talk about Lord of the Rings. So, the book and the movie. All right. It was Dr. Silkworth's idea, confirmed by William James, that struck him at great depth. So, the depth and weight that we need in order to sober up was not given by Bill in this case. It was given by professionals backed up by Bill. But that's kind of, I think all three of them doing that. Okay, so they're saying Dr. Bob got more out of Dr. Silkworth and William James. He's a doctor. Those, that doesn't mean he didn't read it. Lord of the Rings was published long before that. I'll go look it up in a minute. We'll talk about it. I just don't want this to become a Lord of the Rings argument. But good point. We're going to go with that because you probably looked it up. All right. And my dyslexia likes to mess things up. So I just thought I saw a cool coincidence. All right. So it's just neat that something else struck him dry, right? It struck him dry. So the bad thing is it just repeats it in here. All right, on back to the daily reflection then. Upon entering AA, I listened to others talk about the reality of their drinking, loneliness, terror, and pain. As I listened further, I soon heard a description of a very different kind. The reality of sobriety. It is the reality of freedom and happiness, of purpose and direction, and of serenity and peace with God, ourselves, and others. So, going in, they heard other people talking about the reality of their drinking. And when we talk about things like loneliness, terror, and pain, now, when I talked about those things or thought about those things or felt those things before I got into AA, it was horrible, right? And I couldn't describe it because I really didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand that I was lonely. I didn't know. I just knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. It's like waiting for the biggest shoe in the world to drop. Comes with paranoia. It comes with a lot of things. Right? Comes with survival mode, which can be pretty disgusting. We can do some pretty harsh things when it comes to survival mode. Right? I soon heard the description of a very different kind. As you well know, I do podcasting. And I have over 70 stories. I was involved with every single one of those stories. Okay. I get really involved with those. That's why I can only do one podcast in a day. And unless it's like the one we did on Friday. That's not a problem. I could do 2 or 3 of those a day. But stories, right? Because, I mean, they may be telling their truth for the very first time in their lives. And anybody that is willing to come on and share their story, I have a lot of respect for it because it's really hard to do. It's not easy to do. So I do whatever I can to make them feel better. But my point is I've heard it all until I talk to another person, and I haven't heard it all. But there's a lot of things in common. There are several things that all the stories have in common. Every single one of them. I listen to the process as I watch a human being slowly slip away into the depths of addiction. Every time. It may look different, but the result is always the same. Okay? And I'm not talking about materialistic things. Right? Stop with high bottom drunk. I'm a high bottom drunk. What does that make you different? I'm a low bottom drunk. No, you're not. Okay. I'm not any, just because my bottom is different, or maybe I went a little further down in my book, okay, doesn't mean that needs to be that way for somebody else. In fact, I would rather they go, oh man, I do not want to go through that. I do not want to experience what Dion experienced. I hope that's what they say. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of times it's not what happens. Oh, that won't happen to me. Denial. It's not just a river in Africa, my friends. Or is it Egypt? It's Africa. Maybe it goes through both. Pretty sure it's Africa. But I've been wrong all. My intuition has not been the best. So I'm just going to go with one of the two, and I know it's one of the two. So, all right. It is a reality of freedom and happiness, of purpose and direction, and of serenity. Okay, so I soon heard a description of a very different kind, the reality of sobriety. Reality. We are going to actually live in reality now. Thank you. You know, do you realize, Ingrid, that you're my producer? You do what producers do. You find out information so I can figure out whether I'm right or wrong. You let me know if I'm muted or not. My camera's off. And thank you. Thank you very much. Heck, you might as well be my producer. So they found a different kind, right? One of happiness and joy, right? I haven't had to be in survival mode in a long, long time. By attending meetings, I am reintroduced to that reality over and over. And we need that. Okay? This is where time is, it just doesn't, time does not matter in this realm right here. Okay? I'm coming up on 7 years, but that has nothing to do with today. It has nothing to do with it. Because what I have is right now. Do I have 7 years right now? No, I do not. What do I have? Today. I don't know how many freaking days I have. I don't want to know. So what? Okay? But what I do need to do is go to a meeting every day. Okay? Oh, I don't need a meeting today. I went through that the other day. I'm like, oh, just so. Actually, was it yet? I don't know. It was Thursday. Just like, I'm not going to freaking meetings. I'm so tired of hearing the same things over and over and over. Guess what? I need that. Still went to a meeting. My consistency wouldn't allow otherwise. My stomach was like, Dion, it's 3 o'clock. What are you doing? Actually, it was 2:45. I went early. Yep. I decided, since I didn't want to go to a meeting, that I was going to go 15 minutes early, and I was going to stay after, because it was clear that I needed to talk, that I needed fellowship. Okay? What does it mean when we say we don't want to go to a meeting? We don't want to work on ourselves. I need a rest. I never took a rest from drinking. Unless I passed out, which happened. By attending meetings, I am reintroducing. I see in the eyes and ears, in the voices of those around me. By working the program, I find the direction and strength with which to make it mine. The joy of AA is that this new reality is available to me. Yep. The only thing needed is that you do some work and search for a higher power. You're going to do the work. Okay? It's a simple program. Okay? And we've got to keep it simple. We've got to keep it simple. Okay? You do the same. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Yeah, we had a good time. Thanks. All right. I love you. Peace out.